and kind of like I said, thinking about what that costs, and then I come out of it at the end of it asking myself like what am I doing, right? It's either I feel like it's either one or two questions: what am I doing, or what have I done?
One of the things I'm hearing here is that you're questioning things, but you're already assigning blame to yourself.
Yeah.
The last year or so of your life, you've had a lot of challenges and experiences and stuff that definitely puts you in a position to question things, right?
Yeah.
I just don't think the answers are as simple as, what have I done?
Mm.
That's all I'm trying to get at with that podcast. One of my big insecurities is rejection. And I always, every time it happens to me, I always have to first start with the question, why not me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also have to work through training myself that, okay, so is this really about me? Or is it, saying I have to go through all of that stuff to get past that level of insecurity? Because it can be stifling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that when I get into that
place. Hello there. When you become aware and awake enough to start realizing the things that lead you to ask those questions, it can be a lot to wake up to. And I used to believe that being aware was always better. But what I wasn't aware of is that sometimes awareness comes at a heavy cost. And so, I don't know. What does better mean when both experiences are or can be arguably equally and uniquely devastating? In recent years, I've grown to be more conscious of these dualities in which we live in and the choices we make within the options we have, as well as how our state of mind affects the lens through which we see those options. Many things I thought I knew, I discovered aren't always necessarily true. And losing that sense of confidence has left me feeling vulnerable and unsettled in ways I've never experienced before. I feel like I lost a shield that I wasn't aware I used. And now that I'm on this path of learning what it means to surrender, I see that it wasn't a shield at all. I had built a wall. And I must admit, I have a few. I had to climb over them to be here with you. So I have a feeling you know what walls can do. They can keep us comfortable in some ways and imprison us in others. And just because I may be willing to come from behind mines, I can't assess the cost for you either way. Because what I have discovered is that it's costly to leave and to stay. But for what it is, I do pray is that for whatever the cost is for our choices, we're able to pay. I'm grateful for the sense of purpose which abided with me on my journey up until this day. It has given me a sense of value that was strong enough to hold on to me during the times when I wasn't strong enough to hold on to it. And I still have those times, I must admit. In the beginning, I felt stalked by my calling. It's like a spirit. It typically starts with this undeniable feeling of something that I must do. And whatever that thing is, it's usually way outside of my comfort zone. But it's never external. It haunts me from within. I fought with what that meant for a long time. Now, I just want to be where and with whom I'm supposed to be, in alignment with my divine purpose as I abide in my divine energy, which is why you and I are here having this moment today. I'm not here to lead you because I don't know the way. I'm here to share in the ways God has asked me to be better at listening, at accepting my fate, at loving what I used to hate. And as of late, I'm learning to surrender to a deeper state of being, of seeing. In some ways, I feel like I'm leaving yet another version of myself behind, to evolve in ways that are not yet defined. This show is an adaptation of a podcast I created and produced with a community of friends I refer to as the Board. Their collective insight from their life experiences has continued to be my reward. As a team, beginning in August of 2018, we created content that has been transformative in how it has healed, enlightened, and empowered. I believe that we are the hands of God in each other's lives when we live in alignment with the force that empowers us to be that. The Poet God has been and continues to be that space in spirit where everything that I am and everything God wants to ignite, invoke, evolve, and empower within me to do and be intersects. If you are a listener, you know that for 4 seasons, we only took you on that spiritual journey audibly. But now I feel called also to do that visually. If you are, however, joining us on this chapter of our journey, I look forward to everything we will learn from and with each other. But before we begin, please lend an ear to where we have been.
Denzel and Jasmine sitting in a tree. KISSING.
Identify as pansexual because it's just free love for everyone. In my opinion, it's not confined by gender or certain expectations. Just like, hey, I connect with you on like a very deep and personal level.
Then a third party came upon the scene.
I was going through so many emotions. I'm like, first of all, now you got her coming to the house.
What was her intention? Did she have a hidden scheme?
Any woman who's willing to be treated as number 2 is not someone for you.
Dear love interests, why are relationships so tough?
I was in the garage. I was in the garage, and I was getting ready to go home. So I had shaken her hand.
Oh, you shook her hand?
You lucky. She lucky.
I wanted you to love me.
Denzel was not thinking.
But I didn't love myself enough.
And I might be reliving the moment. Excuse me.
Things are still taboo, like your sexuality is still taboo and all that. So, especially like, oh, you like guys? Like, what's wrong with you? Where did I fail as a parent? Which I hear a lot sometimes.
Right.
First, was like, no, you didn't fail as a parent.
Right.
Why do I get questions at work about, who I'm dating and if I want to get married and if I want to have kids and all of these things? When you get married, you have kids, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be happy for the rest of your life.
Voila. I don't understand a lot of the things that people go through. Does it mean that I need to be an asshole about it?
I know, that's right.
Penetration now became like this power struggle because like I literally had to physically struggle prevent that from happening and get out of there. And I got my stuff and I left. And this is the first time besides my husband that I've actually shared that with anybody.
How do you even have a past when you're 11 in a lot of ways?
It was like, I'm like, what is wrong with just me?
He used his partner, his female partner, to figure out that he didn't want to be with women. How does that make that okay?
Yeah, I feel like that reigns true for a lot of us. We are spiritual beings having a very human experience.
We're having a very human experience, for better or for worse.
It's always the little things, that throw us over the edge, but it's the bigger things that we are constantly silent about.
So this new season, it's about the conversations that changed me.
Your sexuality isn't really a choice. It develops over time. It's part of who you are. It's gonna, whether you like it or not, it's gonna come out. Like when I found out that I also like guys, I was like,
Tell me about that, though.
God hates me, doesn't he? That was the first thing that came to my head. It was just, wow, man, I'm so fucked up.
Okay, wait.
The truths that saved me.
I always get so teary-eyed when I think about it. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'll never forget the only reason I didn't go through was because I knew that my little sister was going to be the one that found me.
The revelations that guide me.
How do you have Christianity but no humanity?
Exactly. That hopefully helps you on your path of discovery.
Where did I fail as a parent? Which I hear a lot sometimes. Like, no, you didn't fail as a parent. Some of my friends have told me their stories. I'm like, no, oh no, baby.
As you continue to discover just who you came to the world to be.
You were 11 years old, 18 years later. Guess what? There were people watching you, and there were people being inspired by you. Over Junior.
Boys.
As I said earlier, I believe that we are the hands of God in each other's lives when we live in alignment with the force that empowers us to be that. I know that because I've experienced what it means to be held in those hands, raised by those hands, directed, disciplined, and protected sometimes for my own plans. But I think the best thing my community did for me was protecting me from myself until I could see that I was just as worthy of being loved as anyone else. Until I could see myself through a lens that made me look up instead of down, that made me smile at my own reflection instead of frown. It doesn't mean that I still don't struggle in the occasional waves of depression, but what it does mean is that I don't drown. So to say thank you, if I never get to say it again, I wanted to leave with you today a note I once left with them. When I was reflecting on this note, I was just thinking about how we all kind of go through these periods of times where we question our value, our self-worth, and we face things that make us feel unworthy in certain ways within our relationship with our jobs, our relationship with our loved ones, our romantic relationships. And this note that I wrote to them just it makes me, it's hard to read it without getting emotional, because what it's saying is really that I hope that I was enough. Anyway, I'll just get into it and try not to cry. It says, "My eyelids never failed me so much, especially when I think about how much I've been loved and how much my life has been touched. I have a history that doesn't afford for me to take love for granted. I'm still healing from the past wounds and the fears they planted. Every time I meet a ceiling, it serves to show me where I need to do more healing. Every time I meet a reason to keep my heart closed, I meet a stronger one to leave it exposed. Sometimes that reason is the family I chose. Other times, they chose me. They wanted me to know what it feels like to be loved unconditionally. And I don't really have words to tell you how much that really means to me. Eyelids can't hold back a river, and I couldn't help but be changed by the love you all deliver. I don't know why you chose me. Sometimes I feel unworthy. But please understand, every time you sent a dime that never had a string attached, only as a reminder that if I fall, you'd be there to catch. Every time I think about how much I've met my match, tears come from a place that eyelids weren't designed to catch. I hope I've been worth it. Every tear and hurt you've had for me. Thank you for not giving up on what you believed could be. You met me in the midst of many things. Where am I meeting you? Because I suspect you're in the midst of many things too. Subscribe and come back again, because something good for your soul may just be on the other end.